It's the second round of Six Nations games today and a huge test for England, while for Wales, it's a must-win.
Yeah, and as you can see, to discuss all of that, we've been joined by England World Cup winning scrum half Matt Dawson. Matt, very good morning to you. It really is. We talk about huge games, but it is a huge game today. What gives teams the edge in those key moments in games like this?
I mean, that is the question. The difference, isn't it? The standard of rugby is so good at the moment. So having those types of edges, whether it's an individual, could be Antoine Dupont, could be the edge. It could be the fans. It could be the game, the sponsors. It's everything about the edge is really, really important. So that somebody potentially, I don't know, has a connection. I mentioned Antoine Dupont. You know, he's so well connected with his team. The way he just orchestrates things. It's important that the connections that these players have drive their teams. They drive victory. A little bit like the fans. They all like to be connected to the players. I noticed when I came in here that you were connected. You were talking to your daughter.
I was doing good luck in a charity hockey match this morning.
There you go. See that? I mean, and one of the reasons I'm sort of here is because I've been doing some work with Monopoly Go, with the first mobile gaming app sponsorship within rugby, which is massive news. And when I saw you on your phone to your daughter talking about the hockey, it just made me realise that these fans do want to be connected. They are connected every single day, like playing things like Monopoly Go, but the players are too. Yeah. You know, the players. You watch a lot of rugby. You see these players.
I do.
Yeah, you're excited for tomorrow. I know. But they are constantly on and off the field. They're trying to get to know one another. You know, they want that edge that you mentioned, Joe, and it's across the game. That is the difference. The teams that have that edge around connection will create the champion at the end of the season. I'm sure of it.
England were well beaten last weekend in Dublin. The scoreline kind of flattered them in the end, but the fixture list couldn't really.
You couldn't resist that.
Well, you know what? It's true though, and the fixtures couldn't really have fallen any more unkindly for them because it's France next, and they look pretty good against Wales. Yeah. Again, they probably could have won by a few more. England have been on There've been a lot of sort of games where they've looked in the game and then they've kind of thrown it away at the last minute. But over the last year, there hasn't been too many wins for England. But over the last year, at some point, don't they?
Against one of the big guns, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
That tier one statistic is not looking good for victories, and it's not going to be any easier today. Their backs are against the wall. They're 6-8 point underdogs. But this time last year, we were probably having the same conversation about Ireland coming to town and they were going to win by 20-25 points. And, you know, without trying to bring up old memories for you there, but, you know, England, you are motivated when you go to your home ground. It doesn't matter whether you're England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Italy or France. When you are at home, it's your patch. And, you know, I wouldn't say it's the greatest day outside this studio. It's a bit drizzly, it's a bit wet. Anything can happen, the bounce of the ball. And if England do play like they did in that first 30 minutes, like they did last week, if they can extend that to sort of 50, 55 minutes, then maybe the bounce of the ball goes their way.
Is there a confidence issue with this England squad?
I think there has to be. I mean, any of us, if any of us were turning up to work every week and you couldn't quite get it done, you would start to doubt yourself. And I think Steve Borthwick's got a real job in his hands. And of course, he's not going to be talking about it, but he will be well aware that, and the players will be well aware that they need to get through a game and win it by a point, win it by 2. I don't really mind. They've just got to win one of those games. I was hearing some and reading some bits and pieces in the week about fitness. I mean, all the teams are going to be the same fitness. I can't believe in this day and age those top teams are going to be any fitter than anyone else. For me, it's just how they use that fitness and that mental fitness to get through. And the moment in the game when it's going to be 1 or 2 points either way, who's going to stand up and make that decision? Who's going to be, you know, we spoke about connections earlier, who's going to look at someone else and go, no, we need to go and do this right now, and that's going to be a defining moment in the game.
We can't have a World Cup winning scrum half in the studio and not ask you about the best player in world rugby. And people are already talking about him as arguably the greatest rugby player of all time.
It goes up every week.
Yeah, I mean, what makes Antoine Dupont head and shoulders above the rest?
I mentioned him at the top of this chat. His ability to be connected with any team that he plays with, not just France. And probably more important, the way that everybody is on his wavelength. So whether he's in attack, whether he's in defence, his supreme strength and his physical attributes, second to none. But for me, it's how he manages the game. It's how he gets his... He just seems to make a lot of very, very good decisions at the right time. Great relationship with the referee. It's like man. I mean, you may as well start concentrating on who's the second man of the match, because you probably know he's going to be man of the match regardless. It's like watching the sort of rugby's Messi.
Yeah, he's incredible.
We've got to get your take on what is a long-running debate for England. We've heard Maro Itoje talk about it. We've heard Dupont talking about it as well. England not being able to select certain players because they're playing in France. Do you think that needs to change? What's your take on it?
I mean, there are some sort of quite significant ramifications of doing that. But my instinct says that a lot could be solved, particularly for English rugby, if they're winning. If they're winning World Cups, they then potentially get a lot more control. There's a lot more revenue. There are a lot more people going to watch the games. There's a lot more sponsors like Monopoly going, I want to sponsor the Six Nations. I want to sponsor these teams. And it is about performance for me. And I think maybe could there be a little hybrid model? Do they have to? They? I mean, I know other countries.
Wales did it like if you've over 60 caps or whatever, then you're
Yeah. So potentially it needs a tweak, because that's been around a long time, Joe. I think it probably does need a little bit of a shift. But we've got to look after the club game, of course. But ultimately, we all know that rugby is the international game. There are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of fans that only watch international rugby. They don't watch club rugby. So that's for me, has got to be a focus.
Let's look at the other games this weekend too. We'll come on to the Grand Slam decider tomorrow in a second. But first, Wales in Rome to face Italy to try and end this 13-game losing run. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. They were woeful against France last Friday night, and I just don't see where there are any green shoots of recovery for Wales at the moment either.
Yeah, I've seen a few words from pundits about. Wales didn't actually play that badly given the team that they had to play, and France are really good. France were breathtaking, but Wales, they're young, they're inexperienced, but I think maybe, and Welsh fans are not going to like this, it's just going to have to dig in for a couple of years and blood these players who have got potential coming through. I mean, this guy Tom James, playing today, big unit, that sort of Jamie Roberts potential. Give them a couple of years, have a bit more patience, but Wales are in trouble, and they're going to Italy, and Italy will probably be bouncing around and very confident about making it a little bit more painful for them.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah. Finally, tomorrow it is Scotland against Ireland at Murrayfield. I was reading this. Ireland have won each of the last 10 matches between the two. How's that possible? Do you think that is going to continue? I mean, I think this Scotland side look pretty good.
You say that every year.
They have been, haven't they?
Yeah, they do.
Excuse me, yeah. They have got a big performance in them, and we've seen it. I think one of their main issues has been that ability to have continuity and consistency in the championships. Numerous championships. You would have been excited about Scotland, got off to a good start, and then all of a sudden they struggle against Italy or they lose against Ireland. And I think there's an element of Scotland where I think the players have had enough. of this, oh, woe is Scotland, or it's like you sort of want them to grab the bull by the horns a little bit and say, no, we are that good side, and it's not just about Finn Russell. We've got a fantastic squad. Let's get on and do it. And I think Greg has done a fantastic job as coach. He's brought all the players together. They've, with those two provinces in Edinburgh and Glasgow, they're performing well. I think they're going to give Ireland a little bit of a fright.
Yeah.
You look like you're...
It's the one game I'm worried about. I'm actually not worried about playing France in Dublin, but Scotland in Murrayfield, I think they could give us a real game tomorrow, yeah.
I noticed the game last week. The Scottish pitch didn't look... Murrayfield, I mean, is usually immaculate, isn't it? A beautiful surface, but it didn't quite look as immaculate as it was. And
strange, because they get such nice weather up there as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure who that suits. I think it might suit Ireland potentially rather than Scotland. Shall we go for? I'll go for a draw. You two. It looks like there's a bit of an edge. I can't be honest.
We'll still be talking on Monday, I'm sure.
Okay.
Regardless of the result.
Yes.
that wasn't
convincing, was
it? And England today, England or France, who's going to get the win?
I think France will probably take it, but this is not going to be watching Wales versus France on a Friday night. England are going to take France to, they're going to take them a long way down the game, and you never know. The bounce of the ball, a sin binning, something like that, makes a big difference.